Welcome to The Pitch. My name is Robin Young, and I'm the publisher of Orthopedics This Week. I'll be your moderator for tonight's program. And as a reminder, this is a monthly program and is scheduled for the second Thursday of each month, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. At each program, two promising companies will present their technologies and their business plan to our panel of experts. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Trace Orthopedics. Trace has developed a very novel approach to reattaching partially torn tendons. This is a surprisingly large and poorly solved problem. Indeed, whether it's a knee, ankle, shoulder, or other location, partial tendon tear injuries seem to be either treated palliatively or with full-blown arthroscopic surgery. Maybe, according to the founders of Trace Orthopedics, there is a middle way. Here is the pitch for Trace Orthopedics.
I'm Adam Greenspan, President and CEO of Trace Orthopedics, the future of tendon repair. We are seeing a major gap in treating partial tendon tears. They're ubiquitous. Standard of care is non-operative because of associated cost, risk, and recovery. The problem is pain relief is only temporary in many cases. Over 31 million partial tear cases are reported each year in the US. We see a serviceable market niche in cases with clean edges, i.e. no shredding or retraction. This accounts for 10% of all partial tear cases, with hip, shoulder, and ankle most prevalent, as you can see at the bottom here, representing a $2.4 billion SAM. Frontline treatment today is conservative with injections or a needle-based technique called tenotomy among the options. On the other side is open or arthroscopic surgery. But there's nothing in between that bridges these treatment approaches. That leaves an enormous gap in the market, which is our competitive opening. In fact, our closest competition will be tenotomy, while the most analogous products are surgical suture anchors. The specially designed, patented Trace tendon fastener is a game changer. Like an anchor, we implant into the detachment site, but instead using a 10-gauge needle-based procedure, ultrasound guided without full anesthesia, unlike anchor placement. Now, there are applicable CPT reimbursement codes for our repair technique in hip and in elbow, which should facilitate early acceptance by physicians. Our $800 unit price complies with the HCPCS medical supply codes and represents a profit margin over 70%. We will sequentially add more indications, fueling a jump in procedures and pushing our annualized revenues up quickly. I'm a biomedical engineer turned entrepreneur with over 15 years in IP licensing and running incubator and investment programs. My co-founder, Dr. Morrison, is a radiologist. He's the director of musculoskeletal imaging and intervention at Thomas Jefferson University and a serial inventor and a true key opinion leader. Our third board member is Paul Janeski, who runs medical device incubator Hatch Medical, also a commercial broker. We have retained expert contractors, including Nagel Ryder, to complete development for our FDA 510(k) clearance in 2023. Our next hire is for a chief technology officer after we close our A round, which is open now. It's led by Keiretsu Forum Mid-Atlantic. It's $1.5 million at a $4.5 million pre. We have about 900,000 still open. Keiretsu members, if you're on this call, they can see our deal in Procedure, and I also maintain a deal room for investors that want to join the syndicate. We're driving to an exit of 4 to 12x in 18 to 36 months, either by licensing to a strategic partner or an outright acquisition. Okay.
Thank you very much. That is very impressive. So joining us this evening is Adam Greenspan, who is the CEO of Trace Orthopedics, also founder and biomedical engineer by training. Adam, welcome to the pitch. And let's begin our questions with Audrey Beckman. Audrey.
Thanks, Robin. Hi, Adam.
Hello.
I'm going to start with a question about where you are with the regulatory process. So your R&D process, what I heard is you're going to file a 510(k) in 2023. So like what's happening now and what's going to happen before you file the 510(k) next year?
So we found a predicate that we're pretty definitive about. And so we are requesting a pre-submission meeting soon. And so we have been working with NailWriter to run some performance tests as well. And so we're going to present data and and then our proposed test plan to FDA.
Thanks for that. I could ask a few more questions. I'm going to leave some of them for the scientists to follow me. But I'm curious about, so the main benefit here is it can be done in the office, not in the OR, something less than full anesthesia. What other benefits are there? Pull-out strength, or, you know, some other more functional benefits than that, or is that the primary selling point for this device?
Yeah, it's just the minimally invasive profile of the approach, so that the recovery is going to be reduced as well. And so yeah, there's the cost saving element, and then there with moving this type of procedure out of the OR, but really it's just expanding the patient population, making it available to people that otherwise wouldn't really be good surgical candidates. And that's really what grabbed me about this project.
Okay, great, thank you. And one last question. You touched on the rehab process. Can you describe that? What kind of rehab you'd be recommending?
So it's going to be roughly 6-week period, and just pretty light range of motion, and be able to see some reduction with the pain index scores that are reported.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Very good. Thank you, Audrey. Scott, let me turn it over to you.
Can you provide some clarification for us on what exactly the indication statement will be? Like what exactly is the indication?
So it's going to be fixation. So, and we've identified some specific tendon locations that we're going to go after. And so like we have the whole sequence. So we're starting with the hip, then we're going to expand into other areas. So elbow is one that's also of interest for us, for like tennis elbow or golfer's elbow. It's like anatomically, it's pretty like specific mechanical problem that we're solving, where it's a detachment, where it's like an avulsion type of a detachment, and where it's like there's a small bubble that's like a palatable bulge at the surface. So it's like an undersurface tear. And so we're trying to pin it down. Early on, orthopedic surgeons were a little skeptical, to be frank. And we've made some design refinements, but once we showed that we could get the implant precisely located, and that it had the pull-out strength, and it had the like the wear resistance and the fit, and the then we one of our orthopedic surgeon advisors, I mean, he started showing us cases where he would rather use our product. So
let me try and limit you to 15 to 20 seconds for an answer. Okay, so have you done your freedom to operate on intellectual property you may have on this?
We have done patentability searching. We have not done full-blown freedom to operate analysis.
Do you have intellectual property on this design?
We have one patent issued, and in US pending in 7 other territories, and then we have another one that is PCT stage, and then I think we have some more like at the provisional stage to be filed.
And you mentioned that when you spoke to some of the orthopedic surgeons, they were skeptical at first. So who do you think your target audience here is? Is it interventional radiologists? Is it pain management? Is it non-op orthopedic surgeons? How does that patient journey get them with one of these implants?
Our adoption route is going to start with interventional radiologists because of the critical element of the imaging guidance. So we want to make sure that is something that is able to be performed effectively as part of the procedure. And there's, I mean, like we've seen some other products that Dr. Morrison's been involved with that have gone in a similar route, where it started in the imaging suite and then went into the orthopedic or sports medicine path.
That requires, I mean, if my hip is bothering me or I have an injury, I'm not going to an interventional radiologist. I'm going to my orthopedist.
Right.
And he's going to want to do something. And he's either going to be motivated to use your device because he's going to get adequately reimbursed for an in-office procedure, or he's going to say, you know, I'm going to turf this elsewhere because it's not worth it. And
right. And that happens most frequently now.
So I have some concern about the pathway to access for patients for you. I think that it warrants some more thought, and we have to be, and I say we, the royal we here, right? Because we're here to help. We have to be careful.
You're definitely somebody I'd be interested in talking to about that.
So we have to be careful not to let our closest friends who love the product give us guidance that, you know, it's like you have to invent a product. Don't go to your half a dozen orthopedic surgeon friends. Never do that. You go to the guys you don't know. They're going to tell you what you need to know. So I'm happy to have some more conversation you guys want to talk about.
No, absolutely. Yep. Thank you.
I'm now going to turn over to Mike Sherman. Mike, questions for Adam and Trace Orthopedics.
Sure. Thanks, Robin. Thanks, Adam. So the device is novel looking. I haven't seen anything like it. Have you implanted it in anything that lives yet?
No. Just we've done some cadavers, and yeah, we just did a cadaver lab with NagelWriter, so into a donor specimen with our delivery system. So that was, but yeah, we have a quote from an animal preclinical test site, and a validated model for shoulder, so yeah, that's.
So I would urge you to get into it. I would urge you to get into an animal lab as soon as possible, because you know you're putting a big, basically piece of barbed wire in the muscle. So you need to know how the muscle will react to that. I mean, it looks clever, absolutely looks clever. But I would think the surgeons, if you show this to a surgeon, they're going to want to know what happens to that. And, you know, you can get some histology, you can get imaging post-operatively in an animal. You don't even need an injury model, really. I mean, you can just put it in and see what happens. The other thing, you know, your market, your SAM, included all sorts of tendon and injuries that many of them are mid-substance. So an Achilles tendon is kind of a mid-substance tear. I don't think this device is probably very applicable to an Achilles tendon repair, unless it's at the attachment point. This has
at the insertion. Right?
Yeah, you need partial tear, so everything's aligned and there's no realignment required. And that I mean, it'd be interesting to see the market of tendon repairs that you showed us in the slide,
right,
narrow down to what that really looks like when you're talking about partial non-displaced tendon injuries. Do you know the answer to that?
Well, I can tell you off the top of my head that so for our projections, what that entails is 10% of the obtainable, which is 10% of the SAM, which is 10% of the addressable based on what data we found. So yeah, we're being conservative with the project. It's just that a lot of the data are not reported, and so like we really had I mean, it was a patchwork just trying to piece together like, you know, a prevalence model. So we just decided we're going to be ultra conservative with, you know, with that. And that's US only market too, that data.
Yeah, I mean, you could get that info. I mean, I think Audrey was sending you that direction, talking to the customers, right? If you talk to the sports medicine docs, they'll tell you, I mean, they'll give you some level of their own experience in their practices, and that would probably be pretty helpful for you. I was going to leave this question to Robin, but you've got some pretty substantial valuations along the way. Who has been valuing the company at this point? And
so we negotiated the term sheet for our A round with the managing director of Kretzu Forum Mid Atlantic, and we established that valuation really based on what we thought was reasonable at the time, which was at the beginning of this year, just based on the expectation of some of our IP issuing and some of the market and opportunity and some of the mergers and acquisitions we've seen in the market. But yeah, ultimately it just came down to what percent that of equity we thought was reasonable to give up in this A round. So, and what we wanted to maintain, and keeping in account that this is my compensation. So yeah, we really have embraced this lean startup approach, and so we really haven't taken we've decided to put our align our interests with our investors, so that we're we haven't taken money out of the company. We've raised over 800,000 cumulatively, because we just closed the first tranche of our A round, which was 500,000, and then we raised 355 on safes before that'll convert in this round. And yeah, we have not compensated ourselves. It's all gone to the company, to R&D. So that's why we wanted to that's how we arrived at what the the terms would be.
That's the 4.5 pre you're talking.
4.5 pre, exactly. So that basically left us with just under 50% among myself and my co-founder.
Well, congratulations. I think those are healthy valuations considering the stage you're at. But look, I'm going to defer this back to Robin, but has anyone asked you how you would get this out?
So yes, it's essentially it's a screw that's anchored in. So we're not even pre-drilling a pilot hole, so it should come out pretty easily, or it can just stay in.
Well, good luck. It's really cool. I would get it into an animal as fast as you can and see how it does.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll give it back to Robin.
Oh, that is terrific advice. That's absolutely, yeah. Get into some living tissue. So
sheep is our target. We have confidence with that.
Incidentally, back when I was helping to raise money for young companies, on the valuation side, again, we came at companies, especially young companies, with a longer term approach than a lot of other investors tended to. And more than once, we would give an entrepreneur the valuation they asked, but then we would hold them to their forecasts. And if they didn't hit the forecast, then the valuation adjusted. And often we ended up with a much lower, much lower value, because none of the forecasts ever work out. And if we really like the team and we like the product and we like the market, we say, okay, yeah, you get your valuation, but you got to hit your numbers. So that is, Adam, the trade-off. And it's either implicit or explicit, but it exists. And we are in a capital market right now where the price tags are changing for a variety of reasons. At any rate, the other thing that occurred to me as I was listening to the discussion, and I will echo what Scott said, keep the answer short, is as I'm imagining the continuum of care, you come in with a partial tear, and Scott, please correct me if I'm wrong, but partial tears can sometimes heal. So you give it a palliative treatment, see what happens. If it doesn't work, then you go to the more interventional approach. You're saying you're going to be a mid-step between arthroscopy or open surgery. And therefore, your implied promise that you've stated here is that you're going to be less invasive, quicker than the end stage treatment, and more certain and more permanent than a palliative treatment. Did I get that correctly?
Right. Yep, that's right. And there are some other treatment approaches that they're still within the conservative management domain, but they're I guess considered more aggressive.
All right.
And so we're about like the next step beyond that.
And
However, we could
you've
supplant
yeah,
that.
and I liked very much your reimbursement analysis. That's great. You've got codes that you've identified. You're right on top of the 510K, the FDA. I like the kind of team you put together. I think you need a Bruder Sherman-esque person
Right.
on your team that can guide you in some other respects as well. So really fascinating. I enjoyed both your discussion and the pitch, but now, of course, it's up to the audience. Audience, what do you think? Is this a game changer? Could this technology challenge standard of care, or is there more work to do? Production team, let's pull up our poll for the audience. All right, let's post the results. And yes, I think the consensus is it's promising, needs more work. I think there are some good suggestions made and very interesting. Well, everybody, companies, panel, and most importantly, audience, this was a great pitch. Thank you all for attending, and we'll see you. We are taking 1 month off. We'll see you in October. Thank you.